and good morning everyone. Nicola here today. Today, we'll be going over the presidency of the last president of the Commonwealth and the first president of the Third Republic, Manuel Roxas. But what about Jose P. Laurel? Well, there's a very good reason for skipping over the presidency of these two, which is mainly because our AP teacher didn't assign us any reportings on Jose P. Laurel, such as why we don't have any videos of him on the channel. Sorry for that, by the way. If you've been following my channel lately, you've seen us go over Manuel L. Quezon and his presidency. So, Manuel A. Roxas was the first president of the Third Republic and the last president of the Commonwealth. He was preceded by the Imperial Japanese puppet Jose P. Laurel. Other than having the flattest chin to date, the designation of the last president of the Commonwealth can be quite confusing. So, let's clarify. When Japan officially surrendered, announced by Japanese Emperor Hirohito, most Japanese forces had left the Philippines, and the previous Japanese appointed puppet president, Jose P. Laurel, had resigned as, with a quote, "This presidency is a vindication to my reputation." With this, he would resign his presidency and rejected running for president again. Now, we are at the dawn of the presidential election of 1946. Manuel Roxas as the president of his political party, with his vice president Elpidio Quirino, and the opposition is the previous second president of the Commonwealth, Sergio Osmeña and Eulogio Rodriguez. And on April 23, 1946, Manuel Roxas will be declared as the President of the Commonwealth, but he only served as President of the Commonwealth for a brief period. He started the preparations for an independent Philippines, and on May 8, 1946, accompanied by High Commissar Paul B. MacNutt. And with this, Manuel Roxas became the first President of the Third Republic. Now, let's get to what our very handsome Roxas has done after the intro.
Hello there everyone!
Tuloy ako. Depende sa next. Bakit? When the year goes about, it will come. I remember those dark times. What horror! Don't you agree, Quirino? You mean the Japanese invasion of the Philippines, sir? No, much worse. Hello, Mr. Farmer. How are you doing? This good evening.
I'm good, Mr. President, but you should watch your step.
What was that? Quirino, it's time for our first presidential order. We must renew the electricity and infrastructure of the nation. Alright, I'll take note of that. I don't know what you remembered, but I hope it has something to do with the nation. Some of the things Manuel Roxas planned to do in his presidency are as follows. Renewing electricity coverage in the country, created better vocational education, especially in physical jobs, allowed more loose loans for more vocational jobs in order to kickstart the economy, created better trading between American capitalists to increase business, invested in local businesses that better flourish the use of the natural resources of the country. Because the war had just ended, Manuel Roxas prioritized the renewal of infrastructure, general livelihood of the people, increasing the economy as the ravages of war had severely damaged the nation. He also established several different corporations, which include NAREC, National Rice and Corn Corporation, NAFCO, National Abaca and Other Fibers Corporation, NTC, National Tobacco Corporation, and lastly, NACOCO, or the National Coconut Corporation, which actually in that time, when they were established, they were called NACOCO, which is an awesome name. but this was changed in more modern times. Now, they're called the PCA, or Philippine Coconut Authority, which sounds like an armed terrorist group living in the mountains of Mindanao.
Hello there everybody, Nikolai from George News Networks here, and today, in our documentary, we'll be going over the violent terrorist group known as the New People's Coconut Authority. These terrorists can be found living in the mountains of Mindanao.
And another thing, you may have seen this logo a lot, which is the UCPB, or the United Coconut Planters Bank, which sounds like a bank made specifically only for coconut people. President Manuel Roxas also established the RFC, or the Rehabilitation Finance Corporation, in order for the Filipino people to once again start to rebuild after countless years of brutal combat. Now, let's move on to the various systems that he implemented, or at least what he planned to implement. One of his first systems is maintaining good relations with the United States, which was definitely successful since the US sent various funds and loans in order to aid the rebuilding of the nation. One of the things that got him so close to the US was his order to allow the construction of US military bases. Another system was maintaining a strong parity rights with the US. He also made it clear that the Philippines was an ally of the US, especially in war. He also approved the Philippine Trade Act of 1946, which stated that the US was free to trade with the nation. And the last one we have is the Philippine Currency Act, which allowed the US to control the value of our currency. But tragedy struck on April 15, 1948, in Clark Air Base, Angeles City. After negotiating with US congresspeople, Manuel Roxas had a heart attack and died shortly after. He has a memorial in Clark Air Base, and the next president to succeed him is Elpidio Quirino, his vice president. He was devastated of the news of Manuel Roxas' death, and his presidency is cut short. Well, anyways, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell for more of these kinds of videos. Goodbye everyone!